Cryptocurrency education. Okay, you guys, we are at the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get our party started. Again, thank you all so very much for attending our ILCA 5-day challenge. My name is your Queen Connectress, Miss Marnita Casa. I'm going to be your humble hostess for this evening. Now, it is my honor and my pleasure to introduce you all to a man that for over 25 years dominated the direct sales industry. His cryptocurrency education is being used by companies and universities worldwide. Now, for over 6 years, he learned about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, but he didn't just stop there. He decided to go out and share his information with the masses, and he's doing this by putting on fun and exciting Bitcoin boot camps nationwide at no cost. He has built thriving communities and wonderful platforms like you see before you now. So without further ado, it is my honor to introduce you all to Mr. Brandon Ivey.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you, Miss Costa, for that introduction. And I see you representing with the Morehouse today. There you go. You ready for the rally? So welcome, everybody. This is our day 3 of the 5-day challenge. So 3 days in and you're still here. Congratulations that you're still coming back ready and willing to learn more. I always say education is key. Education is everything. I also want to welcome all our members from our scene community that are either joining us live or watching our replays that we've been doing all week. You know, this is information that everybody in our community needs to know about and be aware about. And sometimes we hear about Bitcoin, we hear about crypto, but we don't know what it is and we don't know where to go to get the information. And that's why I started doing Bitcoin boot camps and crypto talks and traveling around the country to share this information to bring it to our community. As I stated on Monday, I believe that blockchain technology is going to disrupt every single industry on the planet today, whether you like it or not, believe it or not, or trust it or not. This is happening. And we have a choice on how we want to be involved. Either we can take this knowledge and then use it to position ourselves to be building businesses, to educate our family and friends, even to position ourselves for wealth. Or the alternative is to do nothing and you go into your job one day and your boss says you need a crypto wallet because we're paying you in crypto. Or you need to learn this blockchain information because we're changing our business plan. Or you're going to go and look for a job and they're going to say on your resume, when you say, how many words do you type a minute? Do you know Word? Do you know Excel? What are your skill sets? What do you know about blockchain? What do you know about decentralized finance? What do you know about artificial intelligence? What do you know about the metaverse? And you're going to say, what are you talking about? You know, if you're going to want to get a job in the future, you need to know this information. So the 5-day challenge is designed to vet the person who knows absolutely nothing about crypto, the beginners, all the way to those who think. And I say that for a reason, because people think if you've made money in crypto, then you must be an expert in crypto. And that's the furthest from the truth. I've found that people who've made the most money in crypto know the least about it. They made a little money, they got lucky on it once or twice, and they think they're experts, and now they are at the biggest position to end up losing most or all of their income. So that's what we're here for. This is a family environment. There is no such thing as a stupid question. And in fact, those of you see on the I call it the VIP side, the Zoom side, is our VIP members, because after the lesson we go ahead and go into Q&A. People say, Brandon, why do I need your courses? I just go to YouTube and look things up and learn myself. Yeah, good luck with that. You can't ask YouTube questions and those videos get outdated within 30 to 60 days. This is information that is changing rapidly, and we need to stay on top of this information. So you're able to come here and ask questions, and it's not about me, it's about the community. Being around like-minded individuals that's learning just like you. But also, in light of Black History Month, we did this last year. I'm a Morehouse grad, and so we bring on panelists from my alma mater, Morehouse College. So you already got to hear last night from Professor Oscar Sistrunk from Morehouse College. And if you missed any of the days, we got the recordings. You know, you can get to Miss Casa. I've already posted them as well. And on Facebook, welcome. I decided this has been a good week so far. I am streaming this on all the Facebook channels open, and I will not shut off the stream. But only the VIPs here are going to be the ones that's going to be able to ask the questions. So, but I will leave it open in honor of Black History Month for everybody to have access to it. There are some people that are, I call them the looky-loos. They don't want to sign up for nothing and put their email information in, but they're curious. They want to, peek in the room to see what's going on. So I'm going to allow you to still peek in the room to see what we're all about. Tonight, we have a special guest panelist. And this is a brother that's very close to my heart because not only is he from San Diego, California, which is my own state, but the first time I met him was my first day in Morehouse College. He was my freshman year roommate, Mays Hall, room 323. And his name is Mr. Lamar Slater. He's a graduate of Morehouse College. And since he's graduated, he's been doing a lot of community work down in San Diego. He's been a brand ambassador of Morehouse. He always helps out the young high school students, not only in mentoring, but also looking to be a part of HBCUs. And he was also Alumni of the Year. I was jealous of that one when he got Alumni of the Year, got honored for that. And it was a great, great honor to have. And I asked him at last minute if he could be a part to share his story about, his background, what he does, why he believes that crypto education is important, and what he believes crypto is going in the future. He's even traveled to Canada to some crypto events. And so without further ado, I want to bring up out of San Diego, California, Morehouse Alumni of the Year, my Morehouse freshman year roommate, Brother Lamar Slater. Lamar, are you there?
I'm here, Brother Brandon. Good to see you, sir.
You too, my brother. Go ahead and share with us.
Thank you so much for having me. And that alumnus of the year wouldn't have come without you being my roommate and making sure I didn't go back to San Diego without that degree. So I owe much of that to you, my brother. Thank you so
please,
much.
man. Oh, it's actually don't let him fool you. He was the good one. He's the one who kept me in check. I was a wild one, but thank you very much, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for all of that are here today for this meeting, and it's always a pleasure to speak and to share a little bit about some of the things that I've been blessed to enjoy in my life. I'm coming to you all live from the ABCU Foundation. Over my shoulder, you see the picture of Archie Moore. He was a light heavyweight boxer who won the championship and actually still holds a record for the most wins in the history of sport of boxing by knockout. And it was that kind of motivation that kind of compelled me at a young age to dream of doing something like going off 3,000 miles away to Morehouse College. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of reflection on that experience at Morehouse. And if anybody has questions about Morehouse, happy to share those. But I just want to kind of paint a picture for you guys. The year was 1994 rather. You got to think what was happening in the world back then. That was the summer that OJ took his slow cruise down the freeway. That's the same year that Nelson Mandela made history and became the first president of a free elected South Africa. And that's also sadly the same year that Rwanda suffered the real effects of genocide. Technology-wise, we still had floppy disks. I think I had a resume on a 3.5 size floppy disk as opposed to the big 5-inch. PlayStation had just come out that year, and our computer lab at Morehouse had green screen terminals with a lot of dial-up access. It was very cryptic. It wasn't like anything that you see and use today. Way more power on your cell phone than we had in the computer lab back then. Now, against that background, you're in Atlanta, Georgia. And Jermaine Dupri was the mayor of Atlanta. He had so deaf billboards welcoming you as you drove up the 7585 from the airport. Against that backdrop was also Maynard Jackson. He was our mayor. He was a Morehouse man from the class of 1965 and had just entered his second term as mayor. And so on campus, we had a lot of pride in that fact. We also know to this day, Maynard Jackson's name is affixed to one of the busiest airports in the world, and that's Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. And of course, all of us Morehouse men quickly um, became wise to the fact that we stood in the shadows of one of the greatest men this country ever birthed, and that was none other than Martin Luther King Jr., whose father was also a Morehouse man, and whose influence uh, in the civil rights era was legendary. You know, many gave much, and he gave his entire life to the cause to make America a better place, in America to stand up for the promise of equality for all people. And so to come to that campus of Morehouse and see his larger than life statue in front of the chapel that bore his name, and know that he was a member of the class of 1948. And here we were, still 50 years later, to become part of the class of 1998. We all had a sense of pride, a sense of determination, a sense of understanding that greatness was expected of us, and that we were poised to make that leap. And so personally, I was a younger guy. I had graduated at 16. Some of you might know Dr. King graduated at 15, and even Maynard Jackson had finished at 18 years of age from Morehouse College. And so I felt good knowing that I was in that good company, but it was a little bit of a challenge to be a younger guy on campus. In fact, I hope you don't mind me sharing this photo, Brandon, but I ran across it the other day. Don't worry, everything's PG on here. You heard that? Guys.
Wait, before you show that, I
Yeah.
tell the community we came in an era where there was no social media, there was no TikTok and Instagram, so all the shenanigans we did is not recorded.
Clearly undocumented. But here's what I'm talking about. I met this guy that's been a real
snap.
blessing to my life way back in 1994. And this was in our very same dorm room with Mays Hall, where
Hey, you got to send me
we
that
all
photo.
plan to take over the world, become great men, and to I got you, brother, no problem. And so some of the things that happened at Morehouse that really influenced me were just the idea of being away at college. And I tell this to all my younger guys that aspire to go off to school, is to consider going away from home. You know, you might get a little homesick. I remember my brother Brandon used to tell me how much he missed the mountains when he looked out the window, and that was okay, because certain times you're gonna have to get away from the comforts that you grow up in, that you know and appreciate all your life. But we actually continue. You see this leader that stands before us. A lot of that was even evident even that very first day at Morehouse. In fact, I don't know if you remember this, Brandon, but we both ran against each other head to head. I think it was either for our junior or sophomore SGA seat. And I think one of us would have won it had it not been for us splitting the vote and passing the seat to Rob Gore, who's now a trauma surgeon over in New York City and founder of CAVI, a violence prevention program. And he was recently honored by the CNN Heroes Award for his work in that. So we're in good company, But that was typical of Morehouse men, and it still is to this day. So much was learned about perseverance, about being on the right path, about being a representative of where you're from, your hometown, and making an impact so that others coming behind can continue. And in fact, I'm proud to say that at Morehouse, we do have students that I personally know from San Diego who are in each of the classes that are coming through Morehouse at this current day. And we've had that pipeline going for the past 8 years. And also, what I do these days, I'm working as an educator. Matter of fact, I'll give you guys a little glimpse into the gym here. We have
and Lamar, my wife says hello, Latanya.
Oh, Tanya, we love Tanya. How you doing? Give her our greetings, please. So here we have a full-fledged learning center and library. A few kids here after hours taking a chance to study and get some education there. And so because of this place and because of the work that I've been doing in the classroom, I'm able to stand here and tell you that the education we get at ILCA is top shelf. And Don't take my word for it. It's adopted by classes on the continent in Africa. And I'm committed to making sure that many more get a chance to get in front of this education, because that's what's going to make the difference. You know, I talked a lot about how it was for us growing up in the 90s being in Atlanta, but I think it's even more important for us to recognize where we are today in this particular time and junction, and the history that's being made with blockchain technology. Because of this community, I was able to feel right at home all the way up in Ontario, Canada, where I attended the largest blockchain conference hosted by our northern neighbors. And I found folks that knew our host here, my brother Brandon, and who were singing his praises. And of course, others that were bringing us up to date on new technologies, such as how NFTs were going to be connected to Hollywood movie releases. Even learned about a browser called Brave that was a free open source browser that actually offered cryptocurrency as a reward for viewing certain ads. And so just that type of knowledge and that type of environment is what I'm grateful for. I know soon, very soon here at our gym, we'll be able to accept cryptocurrency for guys paying their membership. And I'm looking to my brother Brandon to help us make that transition and to bring us on into the new world that we all are going to have to enjoy, whether we like it, whether we believe it or not. It's going to happen, as Brandon always says. And so I just want to say thank you again for taking out the time to create this community and to welcome me in as your brother. I know that we're always excited back at Morehouse to see any of our Morehouse brothers doing great things. You heard it from Professor Sistrunk, to all of those that have a chance to visit Morehouse. There's something in the air there that gives us a source of inspiration that we all can take pride in, whether we're Morehouse men, whether we know Morehouse men, or whether we hope to be Morehouse. So I won't take all day. Who knows what the greatest bore in the world is, but something that's very boring. I won't take credit for this quote, but my coach always says, the greatest bore in the world is a person who's made their point and continues to talk. So with that, I'll pass the mic back to my brother Brandon. And thank you guys so much. I'll be here for any questions. And I love you guys all. Thank you.
It's not every day a Morehouse man willingly passes the mic. But thank you, Lamar, for that. I mean, you just brought me back, man. Seeing that old photo. You know, if anybody knows where the bodies are buried from me back in the day, he knows. He knows. There's a lot that I'd be apologizing for how I was back then. But thank you for sharing, Mr. Slater. And if you could just stay around at the end for Q&A for anybody that has questions, much appreciated. You know, I had the opportunity to take Miss Casa and Prelvis when we were down in Atlanta down to the campus in the yard and walk around the AUC and see how there's a lot that's changed from when I was there. You know, I look at them like they're spoiled compared to what we had. You remember that night, Lamar? We came back late in well, I don't know to tell the story, but we came back late in that cab and we didn't have enough money to pay it, and there's some things we had to do. I mean, there's
You gotta remember, this is before Uber. This is before Lyft.
Yep. I mean, wow. Well, airport runs. You had to get to the airport real quick. There was no Uber. You go to Spelman's parking lot. There were brothers always out there saying, "Hey, you give them $5 and take it to the airport real quick." But
Right.
thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that information. Now, tonight, the lesson we're going to share is very, very important. Not just to our community, but to everybody. It's not about even race anymore. It's about class and the class system. The new financial system is changing right before our eyes. And my fear is that by the time everybody figures it out, it's going to be too late for you to do anything about it. And it's actually going to move us to a more centralized network, even though the whole point of blockchain is to be decentralized. We have some of the biggest institutions, financial institutions in the world that see the power of this technology. They were against it for the last 15 years, but secretly behind the scenes, they've been building the foundation of what the future of the financial system is going to be built upon. And they are figuring out how to take that technology and move it in a centralized way where they are still in control. And by that time, it's going to be a little bit too late for most people to really stake your claim and fortune in the future, because a lot is still going to be in control. But right now, this is still the wild, wild west, where we all can go out there and mine our own gold and stake our claim in this new frontier. And one of the things that we need to know is decentralized finance. And my concern about that is, how do I teach decentralized finance when most people don't even understand finance or traditional finance? When my own brother, who's a doctor, thought that the dollar was backed by gold, and it was off the gold standard in 1971, 7 years before he was even born. When school does not teach our children about financial education, about leverage, about trusts, about how to build a portfolio, and how to have a network, a diverse network to leave for your family and generations, wills and all that stuff. We're only taught in school how to make money, go to school, make money, and pay our bills, and be a employee for the rest of our lives. And as an employees, we work hard enough so that we don't get fired, and they pay us enough so that we don't quit. And that's about it. And most people are just living paycheck to paycheck, and the only design of wealth and riches is that they or their children become a professional athlete, a singer, or a doctor, or maybe a lawyer if they go to school. But everybody is just surviving and not actually living, not being able to take your God-given talents and do what you're passionate about, because it's not paying your bills. So we're going to attempt tonight and it's been a while since I've done this lesson, maybe a couple of months. I've got to remember how this flows, but we're going to talk about decentralized finance. And if you've been paying attention to the news today, Bitcoin got to $64,000 a coin briefly, which is the highest it's been in 2 years, $5,000 away from its all-time high. And what that means is it's a wake-up call for a lot of people out there who have been hearing about Bitcoin and just kind of seeing what's going on, but not taking advantage of it, to say, you know what, maybe I need to. Because even if you don't, companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, New York Stock Exchange, Grayscale, these companies, MicroStrategy, Kathy Wood's company, these companies have trillions of dollars behind them. And they are coming into this space full force. In fact, what's happening right now with the price of Bitcoin should not be happening, at least not yet. And the reason it is because of the Bitcoin ETFs with BlackRock and the others that are now opening up access to Bitcoin and crypto to their institutional investors. And when you hear the word institutional or retail, you got to know what that means. Bitcoin got to where it is today from the retail market, meaning the average person. The institutions have been sitting on the sidelines just watching what's been going on until now. Institutions means the wealthy, the rich, institutional investors that have millions and millions of dollars that can buy Bitcoin without blinking an eye. One whole Bitcoin at 64,000. It's not, that's nothing. And now that they're coming into the space, they are very excited. And BlackRock by itself, 10 trillion. I'm not on my StreamYard to play the video of Larry Fink. And when Larry Fink talked about that he's so excited about the concept of decentralized finance, of tokenization, of the ability to have DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, to now tokenize stocks and bonds and real estate, now that everybody has a voting power. What he's really excited about is not so much that, but the fact that they're eliminating the middleman, which costs him and his company a lot of money in fees. If you ever watched the show Suits, And Suits, when it went on Netflix, everybody started binging it. But do you know these corporate lawyers, they don't spend all their time in courtrooms. They spend all their time writing up contracts for their clients from one and negotiating different deals that they have going on. That's why they take on big companies, take on large law firms on a retainer. And they spend a lot of money. A lot of people are not realizing, when you look at what's going on right now, even with Donald Trump, that he had to spend $50 million on lawyers just for stuff. Now, what Larry Fink is saying with this whole blockchain, they can eliminate the middleman, eliminate the fees, which puts more money in their own pocket. So let's go ahead and get through this decentralized finance with Web 3.0. Changing world. Oh, I just realized something. Okay, I'm going to flow with this. This isn't actually I've got a course completely on decentralized finance. Then I have a course on Web 3.0, and I have decentralized finance in that. Yeah, I'll go with this because this is going to be important. To understand this, you need to understand what Web 3.0 is. And what Web 3.0 is the future of the internet, the next evolution. We went from Web 1.0, Web 2.0, Web 3.0. Again, you're not going to have a choice on this. This is the natural evolution, just like we went from AOL dial-up internet to now we've got high-speed streaming internet. And Web 3.0 is going to be all about autonomy, all about you owning your own brand, you owning your own content, and not the platforms keeping all your data. You know, every time you upload a photo to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, they own it, not you. They have the rights. They're collecting and selling your data. Web 3.0 is now about ownership coming back to you, and it's going to open up the whole world of decentralized finance. So this is a changing world. Finance is an industry that is now being revolutionized with the introduction of Web 3.0. Decentralizing the structure of the web, Web 3.0 will impact the growth of DeFi as well. Web 3.0 and DeFi are going to guide many financial assets in the upcoming years, and this is the reason we should be delving deep into its workings. This system is taking a huge leap in becoming transparent and reducing the risks. With Web 3.0's growth, it's not easy to determine its effects on many industries, not yet. But built on blockchain technology, DeFi, decentralized finance, DeFi for short, is a system where financial transactions are transparent. That means it is open, is not done in the dark, in secret. Distributed between different channels and intermediaries, this DeFi system is not under the control of a central server. So yesterday we talked about what is blockchain technology. And now this is taking advantage of blockchain technology. And Melinda, just hold that question to the end and we'll get that answered for you. So this DeFi system is not under the control of a central server. This makes it an authenticated and transparent channel for peer-to-peer transactions. The system comprises lending and borrowing platforms and exchanging and prediction algorithms that operate through different applications. Bound by a smart contract, self-executing, DeFi is the finance of the future. Now, in honor of Black History Month, why is that important? Because in the history in America over the last century, African Americans and people of color and minorities have not had an equal footing in the financial markets. We're not able to get the loans. We're not able to get the grants just because of the color of your skin. The latest iteration that has come to light is because, again, who's the biggest name that's in the news is Donald Trump. And what they found is that in the 80s and 90s, Donald Trump's apartment buildings, they found that he had 8,000 tenants, and out of 8,000, only 7 of them were minorities. How is that possible? Well, they had an inside thing going on where if anybody of color applied, they would put the letter C on the application, which meant colored, and would not even accept it in those buildings. The 7 that got through by luck, by chance. And so little institutional things like barriers like that have held us back. Another example is in the banking. Let's say you want to sell your home and you have it appraised. And there was even a test by this. They had the house that a black couple wanted to sell the home. The appraisers came out and appraised it at one price. And then they went back and put a white couple in the same home, changed all the pictures, had the house appraised, and they appraised it at $150,000 worth more than when the black couple was in it. And it also goes in the reverse too. If a black couple wanted to buy a home or get a loan, they weren't available, but you reverse it and had the white couple come in, and all of a sudden there were openings. So when you have a centralized system in place, that means that it's always upholden to whoever owns that centralized platform to do with as they will, if they're prejudiced or not. When you have it decentralized, it is not controlled by any one person or organization or whatever prejudices that they may have. It's just based on math. This is why Bill Gates even said in 2014 that Bitcoin is freedom. I say blockchain technology is equality. It gives everybody an equal footing, no matter who you are, no matter where you were born, no matter your education, no nepotism, racism, sexism, or the color of your skin, whether you're a woman or a man, or young or old, or have a college education or not, none of that matters. It is all an equal playing field. So that's what DeFi is now allowing people who were traditionally blocked out of the traditional financial system now have a place to build their wealth in. So in other words, DeFi refers to a growing ecosystem of financial applications and protocols built on top of decentralized blockchain networks such as Ethereum. The main idea behind DeFi is to create a more open, accessible, and transparent financial system. And those of you in our inner circle, what did I just unveil to you this morning that members of our community brought to me earlier this week? That DeFi is now moving not just on Ethereum, but on the largest Bitcoin platform, blockchain platform, which is Bitcoin. That is huge. See, Ethereum's worth about 200-300 billion is their market cap, while Bitcoin is over $1 trillion, and it's the most trusted. DeFi's role in Web 3.0. DeFi plays a crucial role in the Web 3.0 ecosystem. It primarily involves a decentralized alternative to traditional financial systems. Built on top of decentralized blockchain networks, DeFi platforms are designed to be transparent, accessible, and programmable. DeFi's range of financial applications and services, including lending and borrowing, trading, liquidity provision, yield farming, insurance, and more, are powered by crypto. By using DeFi, users can access financial services in a trustless, decentralized manner. That is, without intermediaries like banks or other financial institutions. Now, if you think about it right now, I shared yesterday the story how my grandpa never trusted any of the banks. He wanted to keep all his money in cash, and he had it on him buried somewhere. But today, there is a large percentage of the planet that is unbanked. They don't have access to a bank account, whether it can be because of their criminal record, whether it's because of their what do you call it, their credit scores or what have you. So there's an industry that popped up called check cashing. Check cashing. Now think about that. Where do you find most check cashing stores? In the neighborhoods, in the ghettos. Always inside or next to a liquor store. So somebody goes to work, they get paid, they got to go to the check cashing place to cash their check because they don't have a bank account. What this is doing is saying you don't need to have a bank account. You don't need to be able to pass all the restrictions and regulations just to have the privilege of having a bank hold your money, and they're charging you to do so. DeFi's range of financial application, this is without intermediaries like banks or other financial institutions. So DeFi is also highly interoperable. And don't worry, Matthew, I'm going to upload the Crypto Talk this tonight after we're finished here. Yeah, it was a good one you missed this morning. So DeFi is also highly interoperable. That means the different DeFi protocols and applications can communicate and interact seamlessly. Doing so enables the creation of new financial products and services. Just wait till you get into the lessons when we talk about tokenized real estate and fractionalized real estate. There are several ways in which Web 3.0 is shaping the future of finance. Disrupting traditional finance practices, it has taken the markets and the world by storm, removing the middleman. So that's what we talked about with the blockchain yesterday. The blockchain removes and makes obsolete the need to have the banking system or the Ledger 2.0 system. That's the modern banking system. Since the system is decentralized, every intermediary has been removed, giving power to transactions for being much more efficient. The parties can directly be involved and save resources. Again, that's what Larry Fink's excited about. Traditional banking in this sense works as a middleman and charges unnecessary amounts. So how many fees does your bank charge on you? You know, the right to exist fee, the breathing in their branch fee, the teller fee, the ATM fee, your monthly bank account fee, your account went below $25 fee, all that stuff, overdraft fees, just for them to hold your money. But what if we can eliminate all that? Transparency. Involvement of both parties in a direct manner constitutes a transparent transaction. Since it is an open platform, one can go through the code to observe its workings, reducing the chances of fraud and corruption by a third party. This function is not a core part of traditional banking that result in many cases of fraud coming to the limelight. Accessibility. Traditional banking is not a luxury in many established places. With the presence of the internet and introduction of Web 3.0, this problem is no longer a concern. Since anybody can access the internet, these banking services automatically become accessible to them without any excess fee. The growth of blockchain has been very rapid, and decentralized finance has been catching up with it at a matched pace. The TVL, or total value locked, of crypto and the DeFi systems amounts to about $43 billion as of December 2022. This value comprises all currency that fits the code of lending, borrowing, and liquidity pools. Web 3.0's growth adds truth to the fact that all content creators are getting all the power they need to own their intellectual property. Social media marketing experts are calling this advancement a much needed one. The financial sector is not only a very crucial one, but since the web has evolved, it has given space for the spawning of cryptocurrencies. It has accommodated and created a new concept space altogether. User interactivity has scaled since the introduction of Web 3.0. What about concerns with Web 3.0 and DeFi? Every new change brings a set of questions with it that resolve over time. Now, some pressing concerns about the workings and contracts binding the DeFi systems pertain. Some of these are, will governmental control take a back seat to any Web 3.0 institutions due to decentralization? Does the internet fall out as an entity from governmental control? Will Web 3.0 and DeFi jeopardize national security and related technologies? Can these technologies breach smart contracts and risk cybersecurity? Will these technologies be a potential threat to the state? Anytime there's new technology, the state always views it as a threat first, especially if it's something they did not create themselves. They believe, oh, it's a threat. We need to make it illegal. We need to ban it. We don't know what's going on. Criminals are using it. Many of these questions from different contexts are a running thread in the minds of many financial experts. Regulations are being made to control the extent of power that these platforms will hold in the long run. Even with the introduction of this peer-to-peer banking system, traditional banking matters will be present in the long run due to its ever-present credibility and physical presence. So in other words, even though DeFi is coming, in the short term is not going to eliminate the banking system. Instead, it's giving an alternative to the banking system. It's giving people who have never been able to participate in the banking ecosystem and create wealth for themselves the opportunity to now participate. Now, over time, this is going to be the way of financial services in the future. I cannot predict how long it will take for it to get to that point because DeFi is still the wild, wild west. I do not suggest, because I cannot give financial advice, that you engage in DeFi protocols without getting educated first. No, make sure you get educated first because there's going to be a lot of scam opportunities, a lot of people that want to take advantage of those who don't know what's going on. And next thing you know, they're putting their money on a DeFi protocol that hasn't been vetted, is not cleared, and there's holes in the contract. So before you even think about, yeah, let me jump on into DeFi, you want to get educated on this. And I would even say wait a little bit for right now, especially until some more regulations come out. Now, India as a country is largely in support of a cashless economy and is home to many fintech unicorns like Zerodha and PhonePe. The fast evolving economy around the globe proves the growing popularity of DeFi in the upcoming years. So what is the future of DeFi? Well, assets have continuously been added to the DeFi platform since its rapid growth in 2020. Adding different functions and upgrading codes to its system has resulted in its rapid adoption. The power of DeFi lies in its potential to reduce intermediaries, lowering fees for transactions, and inclusion of banking powers for traditionally inaccessible communities. Open source systems can create communities that will further diversify the system and increase its potential in the long run. Since there is a limited cryptocurrency in the system, the buying and lending agenda can create a high level of income source for investors. Decentralization represents an all-time division of power to various credible sources. Due to the presence of different multi-level barriers in an open source system, it is not easy to breach. Just like we talked about yesterday. Can the blockchain be hacked? No. It would cost billions of dollars to hack one block. And what is your, if you were successful at that, what is your reward for doing it? The 6.25 Bitcoin? So that's worth a couple $100,000. So you're willing to spend billions of dollars in energy and resources to get a couple of $100,000 that's immediately going to be fixed because you only hacked one block. And everybody will see that it got hacked and it will get thrown out and replaced. So the same here with on the DeFi side, unless it's like a smart contract was programmed faulty, this is a lot of security in this system. Innovation, let's say, this gives it transparency and credibility, although concerns about its presence as a source of threat to financial institutions still pertain. It is not wrong to say that it has only added to our power as a community to manage finance better. So this is what I even said to my dad. Today is my parents' 48th wedding anniversary. And my dad is a traditionalist, big time. It took him a long time to get this idea of crypto and Bitcoin. In his eyes, I've always been the rebel. He and if you guys remember, I interviewed my father over a year ago, and you can see, he's a gentleman in honor of Black History Month who broke barriers, born and raised in Southern California, in Compton, California, going to school and college breaking the color barrier of Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, who had a hiring policy, a legal hiring policy against minorities. The only thing they were allowed to do was janitorial work, or what my father was doing was washing company cars and driving company execs around town from the airport and from different meetings. That's what he did. He broke that barrier and ended up becoming the CEO of the company, or what they call today the general manager. He retired after 43 years of working the same job. He's got the 7th highest pension in the state of California. Talk about a success story. And I always say that, you know, if you follow that old saying of if you want to have success, you got to go to school, get good grades, and get a good, safe, secure job. Well, that worked for my father. But there's only 1 out of 100 that story happens as far as the baby boomers are concerned. So when his son didn't exactly follow in those footsteps, I went to school, I got good grades, and when I did get a good job, I got laid off, not once, but twice. I quickly realized that I need to find a different way. That old way no longer works. So I decided to become an entrepreneur, get involved with direct selling, and I did not have immediate success. As a matter of fact, I failed for my first 10 years. 10 years. But I'm a Morehouse man. I don't give up. You know, giving up is admitting defeat. So my own stubbornness kept me going till I finally figured it out. I knew if others are having success, I can have success. If others are making it happen, I can make it happen. I just need to find out that secret formula, that secret sauce. And I did. And once I did, I was able to walk off my job and retire at the age of 36 years old. That 12 years ago, almost 12 years ago. And when I retired from my job, my father didn't understand that part. He was like, wait, what? What do you mean retired? See, my father retired after 43 years working the same job. Most people today don't have the same job for 40 years. So imagine if you've ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, that was my household. My father thought, well, if he's retired, what is he going to do? Lay on the couch and play video games all day? You know, a man's job is to work and support his family. And I said, Dad, I'm actually working harder now than I was before. I'm just not doing it for somebody else. I'm my own boss. And then I got into this thing called crypto. This new fake, when all the experts are calling it fake money. And my dad's like, what? Because, you know, you got to think like him. He's on the golf course or he's with his buddies and they're talking about the kid. Yeah, what's your son doing? He's playing around in some Bitcoin stuff. It's not, you know, especially for him, that's a hard conversation to have. But then when he saw, you made how much money with this stuff? What really got him was when he went into the grocery store one day and saw a Bitcoin ATM machine. But he was a type, every time there was a negative article about crypto, he's sending it over to me. Are you going to be all right? I'm like, Dad, I make more money when the market goes down than I do when the market goes up. So that was a concept he never really fully understood. And so now we're moving into a decentralized world that's brand new, that the previous generation never experienced, but that's all they know. Change is not easy to come by. It's not hard, but he told me just yesterday, hey, did you hear that Donald Trump said that people are buying Bitcoin and that he's okay with it? I said, yeah, Dad. Yes, I heard that. That's the first time he says something different because Donald Trump said that Bitcoin is a scam. It's made up out of thin air. It's not backed by anything. The dollar is everything. We're moving into a new world and we can help define it. And these traditional financial institutions, they know what's happening. And that's why BlackRock jumped on board. Do you realize that they purchased 160 something thousand Bitcoin over the last 5 weeks? No, not 5 weeks, 4 weeks or 5 weeks. 166,000 Bitcoin. And they're not the only ones gobbling up all the Bitcoin right now. That's for a reason. So again, innovation in the sector is at an all-time high, and Web 3.0 has proven its efficiency to give power to creators. DeFi will grow and expand for the better, bringing new policies and financial power to who? Not the businesses too big to fail, not the wealthiest of wealthy, to the community. And who's the community? You. Now, this is putting power in your hands. That can be good and it can be dangerous. Because if you don't know what to do with that power, you're going to end up ruining yourself, which is why I say education is key. Education is everything. As a disclaimer, this information is intended for educational and training purposes only and should not be construed as investment advice. As with all financial decisions, you should contact your licensed financial advisor before investing in any financial instrument. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of that lesson. It didn't take that long this time, huh? So what we're going to do is I'm going to be turning it over to our hostess, Miss Marnita Casa, to handle the Q&A and give you guys instructions. And tomorrow, those of you on the Facebook group, I am on all the Facebook groups. I'm leaving the stream open. I'm leaving the stream open, and so that you can see the Q&A. Tomorrow night, we have a special guest panelist, Brother Eric Guthrie from Morehouse College. So you'll be able to come back and listen to him. And we're going to cover NFTs. That's something else I know you hear about all the time. What are NFTs? Friday, we're going to do the metaverse. But tomorrow night, we're going to do what are NFTs and what's the future of that. And I'm going to do it NFTs in the Web 3.0 because that's kind of what I did last month as well. So with that, thank you guys for listening. Now let's turn it on over to Ms. Casa for the Q&A side.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, I do apologize if you hear background noise. I'm cooking, so there's that. All right, everyone. So now that we're in the Q&A session, there are 3 things that we ask of you. The first one is we do ask that you don't unmute your mic until you are called upon. The second one is we do ask that you only do 2 questions unless we have time for more. And the third one is the most important. There are no silly questions. So whatever is on your mind or whatever questions you have, raise your hand and I'll call on you. No one?
Well, good.
Okay.
Good understanding. Well, then, well, there we go. Sue.
Go ahead, Miss Williams. The floor is all yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, Brandon.
Hey, Sue.
For the sake of new people, can you explain who Larry Fink is?
Aha, yes. Larry Fink. Okay, you hear about people who rule the world behind the scenes. You know, most people think it's your president, it's your elected officials. Actually, no, they're not the ones with the power. The ones with the power is who controls the money. Just like I was talking about yesterday, Game of Thrones, the Iron Bank was ruling the kingdoms and not whoever sat on the Iron Throne. And that's the same way it is now. You look at the last couple of centuries, it has been certain banking families that always seem to maintain on top decade after decade, generation after generation. And these are individuals that are not elected. You don't know who they are, but they're the ones who are funding all the political campaigns. They're the ones that they hold the purse strings. Larry Fink is one of these gentlemen who is the chairman and CEO of the largest investment firm on the planet called BlackRock. BlackRock has more than $10 trillion under its management, which is more than a lot of companies' GDP. And that's what he directly controls. But when BlackRock moves, all of their competitors move with them, which means he has indirect control up to 15 to 20 trillion dollars of assets, because the ETF didn't happen until BlackRock decided to apply for an ETF. The Gemini twins, the Winklevoss twins, they are the first major investors in Bitcoin when they invested $7 million and they started the Gemini. And if you don't know who the Winklevoss twins are, they're the original creators of Facebook that Mark Zuckerberg screwed over. They own billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin today. They were one of the first to apply for an ETF years ago, and the SEC shut them down. But when BlackRock did it, the SEC had to pay attention, and they have a 95% success rate at getting whatever it is that they want. So he is one of those individuals that when he says jump, the rest of the financial world says in which direction, and they want to follow whatever they do. So when he speaks, we need to pay attention, and most people don't even know who he is. So that's a great question, Sue. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, Miss Patty, I see your hand.
That was a great question, Miss Sue Williams. Thank you for that. So here's my question. Coming from a mortgage banking background, and we talk about DeFi and we talk about Web3, I see I guess I see a kind of a static where the banks aren't going to be up for creating anything offering to the public on the DeFi arena because they lose control. They're not going to want to give up that control. So with that being said, Brandon, my question to you is, it's like Web3 is inevitable and it's happening and we're evolving. But the majority of us, it's like we have to wait until somebody creates the different avenues for us to participate in. So if we're going to start a banking entity without the central banks as we know them today, we're going to have to wait for someone to create the system that allows us to participate in that. And my question to you, Brandon, was when do you think it's going to be, how long before people are going to be willing to adopt this new system of DeFi versus a centralized bank under control by people who don't care about them from A to Z? And if you had the ability to be on the forefront of a business or an entity that incorporated Web3 and the DeFi space, what would you create?
Okay, great questions. Well, first, the banks. Let's talk about the banks. They do not want decentralization again because that means they give up control. However, what they will do is they will create a decentralized platform themselves where they won't have control, but they'll have majority ownership, meaning in a DAO, in a decentralized autonomous type of organization where everybody has voting powers, one group is going to own more rights than another group. So they say, okay, if we can't beat them, let's join them. So Larry Fink, for example, he says, remember when we played that video, the very beginning of the video, they're asking him about, are you going to offer services in this DeFi way? Or with Bitcoin and blockchain technologies? And he said, no, we're not doing that. And then a year later, he's saying, we are leading the way. So they already have the resources and the knowledge. I'm going to mute you 1 second, Patty, because I'm getting feedback there. So they already have the resources. They already have the expertise to create their own DeFi platforms to start with that generates liquidity, and they're still going to make money. So one thing about the wealthy, when I talk about the river of money, you know, the river never flows in the same direction. Money changes over time. And what the wealthy do when they realize the inevitable is coming, they just pull up their anchor and they float in the new direction of money. That's why they always stay on top. So it's the adapt or die. You're either going to be Blockbuster or you're going to be Netflix. So the current banking institutions will create a form of digital decentralized finance network that you still got to come through them to do. I'll use another example is Chase, Jamie Dimon. Here's another individual who has a lot of control on the world, and most people don't even know his name. He's in charge of JP Morgan Chase. Back in 2017, he was running his mouth about against Bitcoin and crypto, saying his daughter's stupid for buying Bitcoin. I'm going to fire anybody that's involved in crypto assets in my company. Somebody's going to get killed over this stuff. It's stupid. 24 hours later, he buys up all the Bitcoin assets through the Swedish market under a different company name, is caught doing it, found guilty, and paid a fine. Then what does he do? Just like Bank of America has 70 patents on blockchain technology, at the same time they were preventing their customers from buying Bitcoin with their accounts, JP Morgan creates a new company called Onyx. And Onyx's entire role is to have a presence in the metaverse because they believe, just like the movie Ready Player One, the future of finance is going to be digital, that people are going to move their bodies into this virtual reality world where they're still going to be needing to make payments and transactions. And they want to build a decentralized platform in it that is still flows and comes through them. Now, they don't need to control it, but they're the ones who created it, which means they're still going to be making money from it. So that's what those institutions are going to do. Now, let's talk about what would I do or what any one of you can do. If I wanted to, I could devote time to learn about how all the DeFi works and get some partners to raise some capital to create a decentralized financial platform and make that happen. And anybody can do that. This is why I said this is the wild, wild west now, where there's no barrier of entry. So anybody can create one. The only thing is not it costs money to do, because you're going to have to make sure that it's programmed. You're going to have to make sure you've already got the liquidity to handle the customers that are coming in. So you can either do that by funding the liquidity yourself, which is what the banks are going to do, or you have what's called seed rounds, where you're offering a liquidity token for sale and raise money for that liquidity to do so. But that means, is there people out there that will trust you on your project and what you're doing? Do you have that recognition? Do you have the connections and contacts to raise 5, 10, 50 million dollars to have in the back to do? Now, a lot of these banks are creating stable coins, their own stable coins and their own versions of CBDCs, which is what Chase Morgan did. But anybody technically can do it. And then that smart contract as well. So for any of you that you might run into a DeFi platform, always ask for the audit, because it's a smart contract. And it needs to be audited to see, how is the program good? Are there any holes in the program? Is there a back door where the people who actually programmed it can come in 2 years later and siphon everything away? And you have to use a third party audit that you can trust. Don't trust when they say, yeah, we did an internal audit and here's the results. No, 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 no. I need a third party that has no affiliation with your company. You hired them to do it, but then that's expensive. On the cheapest side, I've seen $20,000 to $25,000 to do. On the high end side, up to $250,000 to have a firm audit your smart contract business, especially with DeFi. So it takes some resources, but anybody can do it. So does that answer your question, Patty? She's like, yeah, kind of. Yeah. Oh, I muted. Let me go. There you go.
You didn't say what you would do.
What I would do.
What you would do. So now you have the power to create a business in the DeFi space that's going to incorporate the masses. What would it be?
Oh, I'm doing it right now. ILCA. I'm an educator. And so
Okay.
I am going to, my company is going to be utilizing all this technology. Eventually, I'm going to create a token that's representing ILCA. I'm going to create a smart contract. We've already experimented with this. Before I created ILCA, there was a company called Twin Turbo and then iLearning Crypto who used my crypto education on a smart contract that was completely independent of me, independent of the creators. It still works now. Somebody goes to it, they buy the package, they get access to the crypto courses, and I get paid because it's a smart contract attached directly to me. I'm also going to have ILCA in the metaverse, where I'm going to create a university building. I'll be doing 5-day challenges here like we have on Zoom. No, but we're going to be on avatars, and I'll have it in an auditorium. I can be creative. I can do whatever I want with that. But yeah, me personally, I'm doing and moving my company. Now let me see what all of you guys can do. And I share this on Monday on the recap call, but I'll say a little bit of right now. For those of you who say, well, yeah, I'm new to this whole crypto stuff. I don't know where to begin or where to start. If I want to create something, here's the exciting thing. Since blockchain is going to disrupt every single industry, what skills do you already have right now? What are you passionate about? And what is your skill set? What are you doing for a living? You will be able to do the same thing with the blockchain because that blockchain is going to hit your industry. So I share the story on Monday. I share how a couple out of Georgia, they have a farm raising ducks and they were in financial trouble. And so they needed to raise $100,000 at a certain time frame or they lose their farm. Well, they heard about this thing called NFTs. One of them knew a little bit about computers and crypto, and they just read up on, okay, how do I create an NFT? The partner knew how to draw. So the partner drew up images of all their ducks. They created NFTs out of it and sold it to the community of duck lovers. And they raised $100,000 in 1 week. You selling NFTs of their ducks. My passion is teaching. So that's what I do in crypto. That's why I explained to my dad, I said, Dad, you don't understand. Yeah, I invest a little bit, but I teach this stuff. It doesn't matter what the price of crypto is. There's a market for this. So what is your passion? What is your skill set? Brother Eric Guthrie, we're going to be bringing up tomorrow. His background is in law. Now, he is in a very unique opportunity right now. And that's why he's in so much high demand because there are no technically crypto lawyers. And so he taught himself, wrote the book, Banking on or Blockchain or Die, and now he's getting invited by all these different law firms around the country to come in and teach, what can regulation look like, or what should we do, or how should we do this? There's a lot of money for him being one of the first in that field. What about medical? You have a medical background. What about you're a journalist? You're an artist. What if you're a musician and you put your music on the blockchain? Your imagination is a limit. So I hope that makes sense. That's what I
That was awesome, and more, and so thank you for that. That
No
got
problem.
my mind going. Okay, what can I do? How can I do it? So give me a year.
Thank you so much, Miss Patty. And after everyone's done asking their questions, you sparked something with that question you asked Mr. Ivey. And I have an answer for you. Okay, I want to talk to you about it. All right, Miss Judy, I see your hand is raised. The floor is all yours.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. Well, first of all, I want to apologize for not being on camera. However, as you all know, I'm on the East Coast. So right now I'm in my jammies and I'm tucked into bed. So I doubt you will see me on camera in the evenings. But I wanted to comment with Sue's question because that triggered something. And this is something that has been going through my mind for a while. Now, those of you Sunday school babies will know the verse, and I apologize, it doesn't come up. But in Revelation, they talk about black rock, a black rock coming in, and no one will be able to resist it. And part of me is wondering, is this somewhat prophetic, or do you think perhaps they name their company thinking of that particular verse. Do you know the one I'm talking about, Brandon?
Yes. Now, okay. So here's what another thing. The elite, the world elites, they're part of their own fraternity, secret societies, and families that have their own code of conduct. They're borderless, and they cross nationalities, and they have what we call it hidden symbols, but hidden in plain sight. Everything they do has meaning, from the name of the company, the date it starts. There, I don't want to get into the astrology or the mysticism or any of that kind of stuff, but there's meaning. Now, I don't know. I wasn't in there when they created BlackRock, but I can say with confidence there's a reason why they chose that name. So whether it's because of revelations or not, I can only speculate, but I do know, yeah, every major company like that, there's meaning behind its name, its symbol, its image, and that a lot of people don't know, but they know themselves when they see it. That's why I always say it's funny. Every time I go to Denver Airport, and Denver's got one of the largest airports in the world, but why? I'm sorry to my cousin Marnita, Janelle, but Colorado ain't that impressive to have the biggest airport in the world. I'm not hating. I'm just saying, but there's a reason. There's also another largest airport in the world that has no commercial traffic, which is in Iraq, that was built by the US military after the Gulf War out in the middle of the desert, Mesopotamia area, because they were out there digging for something or they found something. But these are shadow institutions. They have a purpose for their names. And yes, BlackRock means something to them. Whether they share that with us or not, we don't know.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Miss Judy. Okay, Miss Melinda, I see your hand raised. The floor is all yours.
Yes, thank you. So, the second question first. You mentioned the 167 or so thousand Bitcoin purchased by BlackRock, and how is that different, frankly, whether we're talking metaverse or otherwise? If I think I remember that Bitcoin is limited, right? The supply of Bitcoin is limited. If those with capital go out and buy up all the supply, how is that any different than what we're gonna where we've ended up now?
Very good question. It was kind of, we talked about this yesterday as well. Like, what happens if the system's designed to be decentralized and open for everybody so that we don't have to use the institutions and the people of power? What happens when the institutions and people of power come in and gobble everything up? Well, that's the open market. They have the freedom and the right to do so. The only thing is they're not able to control and make policy with it. It's the fact that they just own the most value of it. So we can still buy Bitcoin. We just won't be able to buy a whole Bitcoin. We'll be buying pieces of a Bitcoin. So now we're kind of beholden to them being able to manipulate the market on what if they decide they don't want to sell it? They
Correct.
can say, I'm not selling it. I'm holding on to it. Well, there's also a problem with that as well. They've got to always sell some, because if they're not selling, then if there's nobody that's going to want to buy it, then there's no value. And then if nobody's buying it, the price comes all the way back down. So the same with the banking institutions. They're gonna, the wealthy always find a way to remain wealthy. And I say that in crypto, wealthy people get in crypto to stay wealthy. Everybody else gets in crypto to get wealthy. This is our chance. While this is what we call the great reset financially, this is our chance to now get a piece of the pie that they have already had for hundreds of years. We now can slice into that and get our piece as well. But it's going to be in a more fair and equitable manner, because they're not going to be able to say, I don't like you, you can't come into my bank branch. They can't say that. This, it's now open and fair to everybody. They just control the most, and there's no way around that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'll probably have some challenges to that concept of control, but I get what you're saying. But that leads right into the first thing I asked. Okay, so I got the call. So I've been a part of many token whatever they call them, and ultimate rug pulls, right? I've lost lots of money, thousands and thousands. So I had my foray. When I do something, I get like really into it. That's who I am. So trading, all of that. And so, but I'm not completely jaded. A good friend of mine called me about 6 or 8 months ago. We talk about investing and stocks and things, and he said, "Hey, Woods, go get some Bitcoin." And I think it was at 14,000. I was in the middle of a lot of stuff going on. And I was like, okay. And I didn't. And so a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 months later, he said, "Did you get it?" I said, "No." So I already was tracking on the price. I did pick up, nothing as significant as I would like it to be, maybe a month ago. So this little run here. But back when I was doing that stuff was when it was at its all-time high, right? So I experienced the loss because I wasn't in when people like you, I guess, were in when it cost nothing. And so made a bazillion dollars on, $100. So what is the recommendation to people with where Bitcoin in particular, there's a lot to be said in the debate about Ethereum versus, I'm not just dealing with Bitcoin, knowing it's the most common, the most reputable. What is the recommendation around when to get in?
Now,
As an
see,
investment vehicle.
here's what I tell people. It doesn't matter when you get started as long as you get started. Don't worry about what the cost of Bitcoin is right now, whether it's 16,000, 30,000, 64,000. In the future, your children and grandchildren are going to say, "Well, you were around when Bitcoin was less than $100,000 a coin." And you're going to say, "Yeah." They're going to say, "Did you buy it?" "No, I thought it was too expensive at 60,000. So I missed it at 14,000. I just didn't do it because I thought I was too late." No, get it now. Just have the idea of not what the price is going to be tomorrow, but what's the price going to be 5 years from now. So we have something that I call dollar cost averaging. This is what I teach beginners, especially like people like my mom, that's never going to learn all this crypto stuff and wallets and how to move from one thing to another. I say, "Mom, think of this. She's old school. She knows to tithe 10% of everything she makes, and then she puts another money aside in her savings account. So think of Bitcoin like a savings account. Create for yourself a budget, whatever that is comfortable for you, a weekly or monthly budget, and put that money and buy Bitcoin consistently. It doesn't matter if Bitcoin goes up or it goes down. Don't say on the day you're going to do it, "Oh, wait, I'll wait till it comes down just a little bit." No, no, no. Buy it at whatever price it's at and just do that over a consistent way for a couple of years, and you're going to be okay in the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years. So you got to think long term with that. And you will do that with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Not my financial advice, but my suggestion. So before people think, I had a gentleman say, "Well, Bria, I know about Bitcoin and Ethereum, but tell me about the good coins. I want the next Shiba Inu." And my partner, he quit his job. Provis Lofties quit his job because of Gala. Made all that money off of that. How do I find those type of coins? No, 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 no. If you're brand new, you got to get educated first so that you know to watch those pitfalls so that you don't end up losing all your money or get scammed. And unfortunately, a lot of people's introduction to this space is because they saw a friend on Facebook or social media post about some new investment opportunity that if you invest this type of money, you might make 3% a week, 5% a week guaranteed. You can double your money and compound in a year. And people putting their car note, their savings account in, and then 6 months to a year later, there's a rug pull. The SEC shuts it down, or it was illegal in the first place, or a Ponzi scheme, and they lost all their money, and they get jaded and say, "This Bitcoin thing's a scam. I'm never getting involved." So congratulations, Melinda, for not getting too jaded and still being in this space. So I would use the dollar cost average and whatever that is, and then try to increase the amount. Follow what the wealthy people are doing. If BlackRock is up there buying up Bitcoin, what is it, 6,000 or something a day that they're buying right now, they're not selling. We need to be doing the same thing, just on a smaller scale. Whether it's $5 or $50, you can buy a piece of a Bitcoin. You will be better off later. Your nephew and niece has a birthday, buy them some Bitcoin. Put it in a wallet. They may not understand it yet, but what do you think that's going to be later? That's why rich families have trust funds for their kids. when a baby is born. Do you realize when a Kennedy is born, it's worth like $2 million from the birth canal? But then by the time that kid is 25 years old, that 2 million has now grown. And they got a trust fund to use to pay for college, to buy their first home, and seed money to start whatever business that they want. All because of what great grandpa Joe Kennedy did back in the day. Wealth generation. So that's what you think. So I hope that makes sense, Melinda.
Yes, I'll follow up on some other things outside. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Miss Melinda. Mr. Ivy, that was some of the best advice I've heard in a very long time. Thank you for that. Okay, Miss Lanu, I see your hand is raised. The floor is all yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Amazing class as always, Brandon. I always learn something new. I just wanted to kind of chime in and add my 2 cents into what Patty asked earlier about what you would create in the DeFi Web3 space. So I just wanted to share, like, I know you didn't ask what I would create, but just to kind of get everyone thinking of what the possibilities are. So if you take a look at a lot of the companies today that are already
Hey, Lanu, we lost your audio. Lanu, if you're still there, I see your mic is still open. And also, guys, if you have any questions,
reselling. Sorry.
now you came back. We lost you for about 20 seconds.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now. So just go back. Say that again.
Okay, so I just wanted to share like different possibilities to get everyone's mind thinking of what's possible in the DeFi Web3 space. And like if you take a look at the companies nowadays that are already really successful, like eBay, and like for me, my pawn shop, all of my online sales I sell on that marketplace. And so I kept thinking to myself, in the DeFi space, I would like to create my own type of marketplace like eBay for users to sell secondhand goods, but accept crypto as a form of payment. Or I don't know if you are familiar with that car rental app Turo. And Turo hasn't been around very long, and they became a $1 billion company in like 11 years, and they're still fairly new. So I'm like, okay, who's going to create the first Turo app for all your extra cars you have sitting around that you can just rent out to people who happen to be visiting your area when they travel? So the DeFi Web3 space is just, it's limitless. It's so cool. Like you really can build anything, but there's already successful businesses. So you don't have to come up with the idea first. It's just like, who's going to do it first? Because a lot of these companies are afraid to jump in. So now is just like the best time to go and launch your dApps. In my opinion, that's just all I wanted to share.
Well, that is excellent information. And I want you to think like the 90s when the internet came about, and a guy named Jeff Bezos had a crazy idea of, people go to Barnes and Noble and these bookstores. What if I brought the book to you and I would mail you the book? And he started something called Amazon from his garage with a desk, a computer, and a printed out Amazon sign on the wall. So he took advantage of the internet. Same concept today. If you can go back to the 90s, what would you have created for the internet? Well, same idea now. What would you create on the blockchain and come up with it? It's not who comes up with the best idea, who's the first to do it. And this is the wild, wild west. It's wide open right now. So thank you for sharing that, Lanu.
Okay, thank you so much, Lanu. I'm just going to throw this out here. My idea for DeFi is another Black Wall Street. The way I was thinking is that with DeFi, we can start our own loan and borrow program. There are a lot of African Americans who are millionaires and billionaires out there. And if we found a way for those billionaires and millionaires to be able to make loans to people like me, single mothers, people who are low income, we would be able to have more control over the money that flows through our community. So with DeFi, I thought, wow, what a wonderful way to do a smart contract between two people, two average people. and make it work that way. So DeFi really excites me, especially when it comes to the different ways that we can use those programs to help different factions of our community. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Is there anyone else who has any other ideas about DeFi or questions? No?
Well, I will. There's a question on Facebook from Tomka about what if the wallet we hold our Bitcoins disappear? How do we recover it? All right, that's a very good question. There's a difference between what's called a hot wallet and a cold wallet, or a wallet where you own your own keys, or a centralized exchange. You want to have, if you're storing your Bitcoin, you don't want to store your Bitcoin on an exchange, because an exchange is run by a third party that they own that central system, and it can get hacked. It can get the owners can run away. Like the largest exchange in Canada, Quadriga CX, disappeared. The owner died and took everybody's money with them, supposedly. We saw what happened with Terra Luna. We saw what happened with FTX. We see what's going on with Binance. BitForex just dropped on us earlier this week. We see what happens with Coinbase earlier today. So to safeguard your coins, you want to have them in a private wallet where you have the 12-word seed phrase. So if you lose the wallet, you can always recover your Bitcoin with those 12-word seed phrase on another wallet. So just make sure anytime you open up a wallet, your own private wallet, and in the setup, they're going to give you your 12-word seed phrase. This is like the key to your house, the key to the bank vault. Only you have it. You don't want to share it with anybody. You want to make sure you have multiple copies just in case you lose the one you got, and have them in different areas in case your house burns down, so that you can protect your money. All right, Provis, law fees. Go right ahead, sir.
Hey, what's up, B? What's up, everybody? ILCA family, is good to be here. Good to see everybody. I can tell you right now, I've been with you with ILCA since the beginning. This is one of the best classes of night as far as all the questions, all the comments, all the ideas that were shared. So hats off to you, brother. I know this is Morehouse Week, and I was happy to see all your alma mater brothers speaking this week. But so first to Marnita, you mentioned about Black Wall Street, right? I actually was on L Bank earlier today, and I was purchasing that coin that we were talking about, or that token this morning that we were talking about.
Now, quiet, that's in the inner circle.
No, yeah, I know. I'm not gonna say what it is.
All right.
I know the rules. But I was purchasing that token, and I actually ran across, surprisingly enough, I don't know how it came up on my radar in L Bank, but it was a Black Wall Street token. So yeah, I haven't done any research on anything like that. It doesn't look like it has like a lot of supply to it, as of right now. But hey, it just released today, as a matter of fact. So that for anybody that want to check it out. But my comment, and this is more of a request, if you could. So if you guys remember last month, I mentioned about that video that's on YouTube that's narrated by Mike Mahoney. Basically was the history of banks, the biggest scam or the biggest scam in history, right? Don't know how many of you guys watched that, but Brandon, if you could, I have found something else and I sent it to you in Messenger. It's on, I think it's about a 30-second clip. And this is more so for the Facebook side, or the people that are listening in on Facebook side. If you still have disbelief, because I still get people all the time that say to me that Bitcoin is a scam, crypto is a scam. Well, we're paying taxes on it. How is it a scam? I understand, we may pay taxes on, look, it helped me walk off my job. That's fact. That's factual, and I don't ever plan on going back trading, hours for dollars again. But if you wouldn't mind, Brandon, it's like a 30-second little clip, basically summarizing how big of a scam that the banks are. If you wouldn't mind pulling it up and playing it if you can.
Yeah, let me see. Give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Let me pull this over. And then share screen. Yeah, I just opened it up. Let's take a look at this. The minister BBAT therapy. Okay.
No, wait, was that it? Yes,
This
that's
one?
it. Yes.
Sets aside 10% or $1,000 and then loans out the rest of your.
Let me refresh this so get it from the beginning.
Deposit $10,000 into the bank. The bank sets aside 10% or $1,000 and then loans out the rest of your money. The way it works is, say another person comes into the bank and asks for a car loan of $9,000. At this moment, the bank loans out the $9,000 from your original deposit. It isn't there anymore. The borrower then pays the person selling the car, and they go deposit the money into another bank, which is part of the same central banking system. This $9,000 is treated as a new deposit, and the process continues. The money gets redeposited and reloaned until the initial deposit of $10,000 becomes $100,000. The banking system just created $90,000 by loaning out your money. So if you deposit.
Did you want to comment on that, brothers?
So, yeah, I mean, for those of you that still, may have some disbelief as far as how important crypto is, how important, this space is, and what it allows you freedom. If that doesn't change your mind, I don't know what will. Even going back to that video I was talking about earlier, that's on YouTube, it's about a 24, 30-minute video. If you watch that, they go into great detail about, how big of a scam that the banks are. And, it all, once you start to understand crypto, the DeFi spaces, all the many different, intervals as far as what crypto has, then you understand, how important this freedom is and what we are, you say all the time, Brandon, what a great time to be alive. And that's true. That is so very true, because we may never have this opportunity again. Bitcoin and crypto is still in its infancy stage. Even as long as it's been around, it's still outperforming, the greatest, the hardest asset that's known, which is gold. It's the best performing asset that we know. So that's all I wanted to, just make light of. This was more so for, the people on the Facebook side, that, may have doubt, and why education and what we do here on within ILCA is so important and so imperative for everybody's future. That's all.
Thank you, Provis. My first exposure to that was a movie called It's a Wonderful Life with George Bailey. And I saw black and white. First time I remember seeing it was, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old with my grandpa. And the whole premise at the end is the fact that the George Bailey Savings and Loan, right before the Great Depression, there was, the greatest, the stock market crash. And there was a run on the bank. And everybody in town ran to George Bailey Savings and Loans to get their money out. And he's saying, I don't have your money. Mary, your money is in Sue's home. Sue, your money is in John's construction company. And because they take your money and they only keep us 10% in the vault, and they loan the rest out to earn the interest and make money on it. So he was only able to give them a fraction of their money at the time. And that's the first time, my earliest memory, I was like, dang, is that illegal? Shouldn't you be able to pull all your money out whenever you want? Yeah, but if everybody runs on the bank at the same time, because I didn't understand, I asked my grandpa, I said, how come the bank doesn't have everybody's money? He said, because the bank loaned it out to others. And now when people are calling on it, it doesn't work. Now, that's what we call legalized robbery. If we tried to do that, that old saying, rob Peter to pay Paul. We tried to do that. We can't get away with that nonsense, but the banks sure can.
Hey,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
yep. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
One more thing to piggyback on what you're saying right there. Um, so you know, after I cashed in a lot of, you know, my earnings, I had some work done around the house, right? And you know, it was a good amount of work. You know, some things I've been wanting to do, and it was in excess of probably about 30, almost $40,000 worth of work, right?
Mm.
To include concrete work, you know, a whole bunch of stuff, right? Well, I had these guys that were doing my concrete work, and they wanted to be paid in cash, right? They were, you know, Hispanic, you know, and you know, they wanted to be paid in cash is what they wanted, right? So I had my wife go to the bank to pull the money because I was here on site, you know, watching everything they do, you know, make sure they were doing everything, you know, in accordance with what I wanted. Well, guess what? She goes to the bank, try to pull X amount, I forgot how it was, like a little over 20K or whatever out the bank. Guess what? The bank didn't have the money. They sent her to the main branch or whatever, and had to do a letter, and but they didn't have it at the branch, which is a big branch, you know, or the location that we normally go to is a big location, and they didn't have it at that location. So she ended up having to go, and you know, they were asking a whole bunch of questions. Well, what do you need all this money for? And what are you, you know, wait a minute, that's my damn money, you know. You know, I was like, do I need to leave here and come down? And she's like, no, no, I'll take care of it. But yeah, you know, I just want to piggyback on that. You know, the banks don't have your money. So you think about, for those people, you know, when catastrophe happens and, you know, people make a bank run, you know, make a run on the banks, don't expect your money, you know, being in there to be there, you know, because it's not. You
And
know,
this is why the CBDC is going to be launched in the United States,
exactly.
because it's all numbers on a digital screen. So there will never be a bank run again,
Yeah.
because all they have to do is just add the numbers on the digital screen. Oh yeah, go ahead, make it, do your payments.
And that's
Now,
why it's so important for people to understand the difference between digital currency and cryptocurrency. I was just explaining this yesterday. I said, because you're going to hear digital, oh, that's that same thing that Bull was talking. No, it's not. No, it's not. You need to understand the difference. All right, I'm done. Because you know we
thank
go.
you, sir. I want
This
to
is
answer Melinda Wood's questions. It says her follow-up to about sustaining platform to use to buy an investment for a child. I think number of DeFi platforms is too confusing. I think the need to use so many wallets is a liability. I literally have lost and forgotten more now, know now from 3 years ago when I was really into it. I know the market will mature. You're right, the market will mature. Right now, we are in the AOL dial-up of the internet. So blockchain technology is like 1995 internet service. Eventually, it will get to high-speed live streaming that we have today. But in the meantime, here's what I tell the first beginner in the United States. Create yourself a Coinbase account. It's already legalized. It's already been audited. It's already being watched by the SEC, the FBI, the IRS. There are all the banks already trust it, and use that to buy Bitcoin for the first time. That's for the beginner. Once you do that, you're not using Coinbase to store your Bitcoin. You then move it to just one wallet. I personally suggest for a beginner, Exodus wallet. It's a good, easily accessible wallet. I have never, ever since 2016 had an issue with Exodus, and I have multiple Exodus wallets. But use an Exodus wallet. Can save your private key. You can have the app on your phone or on your computer. Even if you lose your phone or the app, you can always recover it with your 12-word seed phrase. And that's where you store your crypto for a beginner. So if you want to invest for a child and buy some Bitcoin for a child and save it for them for later, create it on Coinbase, take it off, move it to your private wallet, and you're good to go. Judy, you got a question again. Go ahead.
Hey, Brandon, I just wanted to punctuate what Prelvis said, because that is, I mean, that is so key. As you know, as a former gold bug, That's one of the things we preached about, how, fractional reserve banking and inflation and the destruction of your purchasing power. But a lot of people, especially the ordinary average person, thinks cash is king and their funds are covered by the FDIC, or in Canada, the CDIC. And they're covered up to $250,000. Well, most average people do not have more than $250,000 in the bank, and they think they're fine. However, they have to realize it's almost like a three-alarm fire. I mean, right now, if your house catches on fire, fire department will show up, and chances are they'll be able to, get the flames out, and everything will be okay. But picture a financial crash where it's not just your home that's on fire. Every single house, building, structure in your city, in your state, in your country is on fire at the same time. How well do you think the fire department is going to respond to your burning house? Okay, so when we look at the amount of money that is out there, or currency that's out in circulation, we're looking at a FDIC fund that is on the ratio of something like, let's say, $40 billion to cover how many $1 trillion worth of currency out there? You're lucky if you're going to get pennies on the dollar, fractions of pennies on the dollar. So, for those who say cash is king, it's great if you're looking at a bug out bag and you need to go real fast, but you really want to have your savings in Bitcoin to protect yourself. It is, as they say, it is a non-sovereign bearer instrument without any counterparty risk. And you can quite literally take it with you. You know how they say, well, when you die, you can't take it with you. Well, with Bitcoin, you can. It is economic energy that never goes away. It's the world's perfect money, and we've got it.
That's right. That's
So,
right. Thank you for sharing that, Judy. That's absolutely correct. But all right. I think Miss Casa, I think that's it for tonight. Anybody else? I think we're good to go. All right. That is it for tonight, everybody. We will be back tomorrow night with Brother Eric Guthrie, the author of Bitcoin or Die. In fact, he's got some new, I forgot it's a financial program or something he's created that is launching next month that he'd like to share with all of you as well. So be back for that tomorrow. And again, I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to go ahead and keep the Facebook open public to everybody. Yet you got to be a VIP member to be able to ask questions. It's a one-time cost of $97. I have a special going on for the SEAM community to be joining us, because the SEAM membership is $100. So anybody that's a part of SEAM, you're able to join our VIP side for this month, and we welcome you guys. And for everybody else, we will see you all again tomorrow night. Thank you for the questions. Thank you, Brother Lamar Slater, for sharing your information. And get me that photo, man. Wow, I got to remember that photo. Maybe we were going to Crown Form or something, because I was wearing a suit. The only time I put a suit on that there was Crown Forum. But with that, thank you, brother. Any last words you'd like to share, Lamar, before we go?
Just grateful for the experience. Learned so much tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Fantastic. All right, everybody. See you all tomorrow. And those of you in the inner circle, we'll see you tomorrow morning for Crypto Talk. Take care. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye.